I received an email this morning asking this question: how to develop trust. This was off of listening to my podcast this week that provoked this question in them. And it's a phenomenal question because it's so fundamental, it's so vital to everything in life. When we live with someone who is trusting, we have a beautiful relationship with them. When we live with someone who is untrusting, it actually wears at the very core of the relationship. And I want to say at the outset that few people actually live with someone who is trusting. So in case you don't have that in your life, don't think that your marriage or whatever relationships they may be are horrible and worse than everyone else. That is the status quo, unfortunately. And the solution, as you may remember from some of my other podcasts, is if you want people around you to trust you, the best way to get that to happen is by being trusting, which takes us to this question. How do I become more trusting? Especially when, I want people to prove themselves so I can know that I can trust them. So here's something vital to understand about trusting. This is absolutely vital, fundamental. And that is that trusting is the ability to be able to live without security. That means without certainty. This is what trust is. Trust is trusting because you are not certain. If you are certain, you do not need to trust, you know. So we have to be able to simply learn to let go. Simply let go and stop trying to control every single thing. When we are controlling, we're controlling because we want to somehow impose certainty on our environment or on whatever's going on what the other person's going to do, on the endless number of things in our life which are so uncertain and really impossible to create certainty for. So having faith is really practicing, trusting someone else, which trusting actually is the practice of faith. Faith is an idea and an ideal, and trust is the implementation of having faith. So we trust, and the way to become more trusting is by practicing the act of trusting, even though we may not feel trusting in our heart. For example, and this is the reason why I marked this video as related to spirituality, relationships, and parenting, and self-improvement. It covers all of these areas because this is so fundamental to life. When my child puts on a dress that they love, as long as it's not any violation of my values in some way or another, but it's just not my taste, but they are excited about it. They love it. Somehow it's an expression of them. Instead of me controlling them by telling them, no, don't wear this. This does not look nice. Just to let go. Stop controlling and say, okay, wow, this is a really colorful dress. It expresses vibrancy or whatever it is that you can say about it, but they're clearly excited about it, and let them wear it. That's trusting someone else's judgment. And when you trust someone else, it empowers them. When we don't trust, we're always controlling. All we're doing is we are teaching our children, in the case of children, that they don't know how to make decisions. And they'll be coming back to you their whole life. What should I wear? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Hey, you're 18 years old. Decide yourself. Well, the reason why they're not deciding themselves is because they were raised constantly, repeatedly being taught that they don't know how to make that decision. And maybe when they're 18 and you say, why don't you just make the decision, and they make the decision, and then we come back to them and say, why are you wearing that? We're only reinforcing again that we don't trust their decisions. We need to let go and trust. When our spouse makes a turn while they're driving in a direction that surprises us, don't comment. Even though every part of you wants to comment and say, why are you going that way? It's the slower way. Don't comment. Just trust that they will get you where you need to go. And yes, it may take them 5 minutes longer because they took a turn, which takes 5 minutes longer. You know what? By trusting, so many things happen. One is your relationship with them will be so much more enhanced. They're going to be shocked that you suddenly didn't say something. And you will give them the opportunity of actually learning on their own that this is a slower way. And they may or may not learn that lesson. It doesn't really make a difference. The most important thing is that you are building your relationship by trusting them, because we all want to be trusted. That when our spouse says something, makes a comment, which we're not excited that they said, just be quiet. Trust that they're an intelligent person, that they also have things to say and have a way of going about things and expressing themselves, and there's a reason why they shared that, whether that is something you're excited about or not. So the way to build trust is by acting trusting. Acting trusting. Think about the classic trust exercise where there are two people standing behind you with their holding arms, and they say, okay, fall backwards and we're going to catch you. And you need to trust that they will, and you're scared. You can hurt yourself, right? And let's say you trust and you fall back. You are a little bit nervous about falling back, aren't you? Because you're not fully in control. So you don't feel the trust, but you act trusting and they catch you. That's the way to build trust. Begin by acting. And this is true for so many things in life. The way we learn it is by acting it. And when we act it, we cultivate it, and suddenly it becomes a part of who we are. People who have trust are the most powerful people in the world. The reality is this as well, that religion does the best job at teaching us how to trust, because it teaches us to trust everything that happens to us in our life, because everything that happens to us is by divine providence. God is sending it into our life. And so in a very general way, and I know this would be classic for me to say as a rabbi, but hey, it's so true. I must say it for you, that the more we engage in religion, not only in ritualistic religion, as I like to refer to it, which are the acts of doing religious things, but actually understanding and studying Judaism, the more trusting we become, the more peaceful we become, the less controlling we become, the happier we become. So become a more trusting person for yourself and for those around you.